What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded Podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm James.
And I'm Matt.
How are you doing this week, guys?
Yeah, same as last week.
Good.
Still summer season, still busy. Still
Yeah.
haven't played any games.
Yeah. Yeah. For a gaming podcast, we're really failing at
We
the
are
whole
this
gaming
month, yes.
part of things, aren't we?
Thing is, all three of us, isn't it, at this point? This is work just goes, "Wee."
It goes absolutely mad.
We all took that time to have that one weekend at UKG just playing non-stop.
Yeah.
And now we're paying the
Because
consequences
that's
for
the
it.
thing, is it is about a month before everything goes mental for all of us. And yeah, it is it's tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
I'm a bit more awake this week, though. I am a bit more awake.
You seem a bit more with it today.
Yeah, I mean, it's got nothing to do with the copious amounts of energy drinks I've had in the last 2 to 3 hours.
Buzzing.
Yeah, somewhat buzzing. And then the sort of come down juice of the mead did come in when I got home. So yeah. That is
Just
why
to keep
it's
them calm
That
at
is
bay.
why it's on the table. You guessed right.
But I think that bottle was full by the time before I got here, mate.
It's still the same bottle that was in.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's a very expensive mead,
Yeah,
so I do
make it
try-
last.
Yeah, while I do drink it quite a lot, I've got to make it last. So yeah.
Thank you.
Although I did hear the other day that my partner may have bought another 2 bottles, so I don't necessarily need to be quite so frivolous. Not frivolous. I need to
Frugal.
be more frivolous. That's what I need.
That's what I say.
I believe the word you're looking for is frugal.
Frugal. That's the one. Yeah, it's not a word I'm used to using. I'm far more on the frivolous scale. That just sounds better, right? Frivolous is awesome. Frugal just makes you sound like you've got some really horrible disease. So
Or addiction.
that too. Yeah. Well, what about you, Anna? Are you more of a frivolous?
I'm more of a polynomino person.
We all know that James is as frugal as they can be, so he's riddled with frugality over there. I think I probably just made that word up, but sod it. Anyway, James, how are you?
No, I'm fine and, still have money.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad he
At least
said-
someone has.
Yeah, because
Maybe you two should stop being so frivolous then.
but being frivolous is the way to be. Selfishness, it's lovely. I love it.
Yes, but
everyone around me doesn't
I-
like it. But
I, unlike you, Jason, have worked out the self-defeating spiral. It's like, yes, I enjoy being selfish and frivolous, but then I run out of money, which means I can't be selfish and frivolous anymore.
yeah, it's very, very true.
It's very selfish.
It's a balance.
Yeah,
It's unfair.
It's very unfair. Speaking of that, we actually played that recently, didn't we?
We did actually, yeah.
We got to play the 2 expansions. No, they weren't expansions, were they? We played the 2 factions that we hadn't already played from the base game, and then we played some expansions.
We did, but we did the ones that the book told us not to do. So they were literally the unfair deck.
That was
And brutal, shall I say.
So when you first play the game, it specifies not to play those with your first game,
Yeah,
and then we stupidly only played with those.
just those two.
And my God, was it brutal.
It was more of a case, Ant's just built something. Next turn, Ant's just got something destroyed. Thanks, Jason.
I love that though. That opening that you do. The book told us not to do it, but we're rebels and we don't do what the book tells
I'll
us.
have you know, we did exactly what the book said. It said on the first game. It was not our first game.
Exactly.
Therefore, we played just those.
And we might have to do a game changer card next time for those.
Yeah, or maybe at least include one other.
Oh, that
Not
ninja deck
those 2, because they are both
that's
brutal.
nasty.
Yeah, it's very, very nasty. The expansion stuff was pretty cool, though. The dinosaurs.
It was. That was good.
Wouldn't mind playing that a bit more. Definitely want to play that a bit more. But other than that, we've not really gamed for
No, that
weeks.
was. Oh, yeah, that was a week.
That was a spur of the moment.
Just before Wimbledon weekend, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. Yeah, I think it was literally the night before.
Yeah, it was
it
actually. Yeah,
started.
it was.
Because I was like, I need something to keep me sane for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, before I went absolutely mental. But as proven by the last 2 weeks, Wimbledon puts me in a bit of a negative outlook on life.
I think we can tell by the last 2 episodes, right, James?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. And this week was going to be no different because
The original idea was anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'd sort of pitched the idea that I wanted to talk about game nights in general, but of course, being in my negative feelings at the moment. It was more, let's talk about the bad things about, that we don't like about game nights. And you rather save the listeners again.
You're welcome, guys.
You suggested that we maybe do something positive.
Yes, so we can still do the game night talk, but let's talk about the best parts of it.
Yes, and I completely agree with you. We really should take a break from the negativity. So what I've decided is this is a 2-part special. We're going to do the best things about game nights this week, and then next week, or
we'll be back to the worst parts again.
We're going to do the worst parts. So yeah. And for, I guess, full disclosure, we're actually going to record both of those tonight.
Yeah.
So you get me all happy now, and then just right before you go home, you get all my negative.
You got to get raging, Jason, again.
I'm not going to get raging. I'm not going to get. I can't make promises, but
we'll find out soon.
But yeah, we will. But yeah, are you ready to talk about game night?
Yes.
And the lack of those that we've had recently.
That's true. Yeah. But let's talk about the good parts of it.
Let's talk about what we like about game nights. Yeah, it could be anything, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seeing as though I forgot to do it last week, would you like to hear the topical music?
I would.
Because I don't think we did it last week, so
let's do it then this week.
I think we need to, because it's been a while. There we go.
Much better. There we go.
It feels
editing.
It feels much better now, doesn't it?
It feels official now, Jason.
It does. So last week, just ignore it.
Just ignore it completely.
It didn't have the tune, therefore it doesn't
count.
So, James,
Me.
We're talking about game night.
We're talking about game night.
More importantly, we're talking about the good things.
The good things.
The good things about game nights. Now, the logic is that I should not start this because I'll probably go straight to something negative, knowing me. So, put me in a good mood, James. Give me one thing that you like about game nights.
Okay, so for me, it's the social aspect.
Yes, yep. That's a good starting off point.
Most definitely.
Human contact, yes.
Yeah, which is something I'm usually against, which is quite ironic.
Yeah, I mean, that would be where I would sort of come in and sort of go, I could have come up with that one, but the likelihood is that would have been a negative. Because seeing people, aren't gamers supposed to be like hermit people, that we don't actually like human contact? So surely any kind of interaction between humans, or I guess it doesn't have to be humans if you're playing a game, but is that not technically a bad thing?
Well, no. In all seriousness, all joking aside, it is one of the things that allows me to get out and actually do things and see people. So yes, very much the social side of gaming.
Yeah.
Is one of the things that I most look forward to from a game night.
Nice. So James's first thing, Ant, is he enjoys seeing people so that he can beat them down to a pulp.
It doesn't happen very often.
But when it does...
the glorious fleeting moment for James. He goes home with a massive
those
smile.
BGG stats, whoop.
Yeah. He loves it. He loves it now, doesn't he? He's worse than me with the old BG stats now.
He's doing way better than I am at the moment. I completely forget to do it half the time.
Second the game's over, he's out. What was the score? What was the... And in fact, he normally nicks the score pad and...
Doesn't need to now because it's on the app now.
And I was sort of like, blimey, James. Like, where was this person before? I wouldn't have bothered. I've got a walking app here. It's lovely. It is very good, James. I'm really happy to.
Yes, somebody forgets what they were like when they first had that app.
True. Very true. Very true. The real question is, how long is he going to be until he starts doing it all at the start of the game and then using the game timer that's on there as well, so that it logs.
I didn't even know there was a timer on it.
It logs the amount of time that he's played the game as well.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So I have to keep an eye on it now.
I was going to say I'm not quite that bad. All I care about is who won.
Especially when it's you, right?
Oh yeah, doubly so when it's me.
Yeah.
Triply so when I beat you.
That happens more often than not, to be fair. Break out the app, Joe. Yeah. Break out the app. We have the stats. The stats don't lie. But that's a really good start off there, James. And is that something that you concur with? Do you like people?
100%. So I'm definitely going to go with this. Mine's going to be a two-parter on this one. So definitely the social side of it, as well as excitement for it as well.
Two-parter within a two-parter.
Two-parter within a two-parter.
Gameception here.
We are.
Oh.
It's the dream within the dream.
Is it going to be more like Inception, or are we going to be sort of more like the South Park human centipede type deal?
The boardception.
Boardception.
No, I mean, I really do, because there are times in my life where you need a game night. The thing that you love the most and enjoy the most. So very quickly, I'm just going to go into, I mentioned this on my podcast, where how I got into the board game side of it. Between 2018 and 2019, I was not seeing anyone. I was too busy trying to bring up my youngest daughter who's disabled. So I was at home a lot. I didn't get to see many of my friends, and a lot of people did invite me and stuff, but I just couldn't do it at the time. Board games has got me back into that social side of it. Unfortunately, COVID hit us in 2020 when I started to really get into the hobby.
Yep.
So again, buying stuff, but couldn't have anyone to play with. And then when it finally got lifted, and now I get to see all my friends and all the people I want to hang out with and play games with. I get to see family who are getting into the games as well now, who I wouldn't see regularly as much. So definitely the social, where James brought the social side to it, is definitely a big thing for me on the good part of games night. The second part is the excitement side of it.
Yep.
And not just like excited to have the games night. I'm excited to play new games or be introduced to new games. For example, you say, Ant, I've got this game. I've learned it. Let's play. It's like, let's do this. I am dead excited to give that a go. And, going back to replaying older games as well, it's just, I love it. It's a thrill ride. And I just look forward to games night straight away. And that's the sort of thing one of the main factors of it I really like to it.
I mean, like you said, that sort of all works around nicely about the sort of human connection side of it, isn't it? It's, there is obviously the excitement of playing the game itself, but that I would actually agree with you and say that there's probably more excitement about actually meeting up with my friends, and sitting down and playing a game, or even meeting new people. I get just as excited about going to a brand new game club, for example. I've never been to them before, and I'm sitting down with people I've never known before, and getting to know them. Sometimes, sometimes people don't want to become that acquainted, I guess. They just want to play the game, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I get excited about that as well. But that initial excitement of game night is more about the social side of it. Because I'm not thinking often about, first thing of thinking about the game. I am thinking about the people that are coming. I haven't seen Ant in a while. Haven't seen James in like 5 minutes. And occasionally there'll be other people that will come along and say, oh my god, Dave's coming along, we haven't played a game with Dave in god how many months, and he's running things through my head.
This is it.
So the social side of it is probably the first thing that you think of,
most definitely,
when it comes to a game night. And it definitely adds so much to a game night, just having a good group, and again, I've got to avoid the negativity here, because that could easily be transitioned over. To talking
but we'll bring that in the next part. But I get what you're saying.
But it's definitely something that would be on. I mean, it's not. We're not doing a top 5 list or anything like that. No. But it would be on that sort of level of the people that you're playing with are definitely a huge factor in having a great game.
It's like how we play Crocodile, for example.
Yeah, we just mess about.
We absolutely mess about with it, and we just laugh our asses off, and that's more of the fun factor to meeting up with one another and specific people, isn't it?
Crocodile was a very good example there in how we play it, because whenever we do, I go home and my face hurts.
Because we've been laughing so much.
Because I've been smiling and laughing so much, my face hurts.
Yeah.
And I've got awful movie quotes in my head for days, and it gives me great memories. You're creating memories, and the social side of it is what's creating the memories. It's not the game. The game is obviously, I guess, the catalyst.
But it's the people you're with, isn't it?
But it is the people. And James bangs on about it all the time in saying that, the social side of it is the most important thing around a game. And, while I would often joke around and disagree and say, no, the game is everything, it's not. Right, a game could be the best game in the world. If you're playing with a bad group, it's going to be terrible. You're not going to have fun.
Exactly.
So, social aspect, definitely agree with that one, James. Well done.
I'm pretty sure somewhere in that ramble he agreed with me.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. It's weird, isn't it?
Didn't say it in so many words, but I'm pretty sure that there was an agreement in there, buried somewhere.
Just wait for the worst episode, James. He'll come back at you.
Yeah, you believe what you want, James. You are number 1 on that list of worst. But I mean, But no, social aspect, very, very good start, James. Anthony, have you got something that you would say is the most important thing about game nights for you?
I can think of anything top of my head because I said excitement as well, didn't I? So again, excitement is a big factor, isn't it? What about you, James? Anything?
Well, it would be remiss of us to sort of talk about a game night without actually saying games. It is the purpose that is drawing us all together.
Of course. Yeah, indeed. Now, when you think of game night, do you think more about games that you might be replaying, or are you more excited to try something new? Like, I guess ultimately, if you're always excited to try something new, it's very cult of the new.
It is. I mean, for us, taking our group as the example, because it's the one I got the most experience with. So most of the games we play, say on a Monday night, are geared towards this podcast because we're sort of trying to play through. So I think it links back into what Ant was saying about excitement. So for our Wednesday night gaming night, which is the one where we tend to have a bit more fun with it, there's added excitement because we might be playing one of Ant's games.
Yeah.
Not, you've got some very good games on there, but most of them we've either played or they've been in the pipeline for a while for the podcast, whereas with quite a few of Ant's, it's like, oh, this is new, it's unexpected, I don't know, probably not going to know what this is.
Yeah.
So it is completely, I'm seeing this for the first time.
Yeah.
That's a positive for me. A very personal one, but...
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah, most definitely.
What about you, Ant? Are you more geared towards new games that you've not played before, get more excitement from that, or?
Yes and no on that part, because when I introduce it to new people, I'm either worried I'm not teaching it right or they don't enjoy it as much as I do.
Right.
I always love to go back to my older stuff, or if James requests us to go back to some of the old stuff, 100%, I know it straight away. Yeah. More comfortable with it, shall I say.
Yeah.
But yeah, my worry with newer games is, like I said earlier, I'd rather have someone watch me do it or make sure I've learnt it properly So there's sort of a downside with me. I'm not as confident with newer games, shall we say.
Right.
But yeah, it's a bit of both with me, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I don't think this really comes to a surprise to anyone. So I do enjoy replaying games quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I really get excited when I'm trying something new. I'm 100% in that category of cult of the new.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think it kind of comes, one, because that is my personality. I'm always looking for the next shiny thing. But at the same time, doing things like the podcast, starting the YouTube thing, it kind of becomes part and parcel of the way I have to operate, because I don't have unlimited time. I don't do this full time. I can't just play games all the time. If I did, hell yeah, I'd be playing older games as well as the new games. So with my limited game time, I do find myself favouring the sort of newer... I do find myself favouring the newer games, which is always good fun. And yeah,
I don't know.
I find it hard to try and figure out though. If someone comes to me and says, "Would you want to play this old one, or do you want to play this new game?" I think I would look at the new game and sort of try and figure out if it's going to be more fun than that older game.
Yeah.
And if it is, I'm always going to take the new game. And that includes against games that arguably are in my favourite category.
Sure.
There are a few games that would probably be exception to that rule, like the likes of Dynagenics. Some of my favourite games of all time. They will always be a case of, I really want to play this.
Yeah.
100%.
I think I'm more excited when people look at the collection and go, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, you've not played that? Oh, you haven't lived. Let's get that to the table. You know, I think that aspect of it is where I'm trying to get at, isn't it? It's as much as I love buying new games and playing them, it's just the learn factor of it I just worry about, because there's always something I muck up on the first time I bring it to the table. Always something.
Oh, yeah.
And I know there's times, I know it's only like nitpick little things, but even you guys have messaged me sometimes, and we should have done it like this. That was the wrong part of it, such and such, forever. And I kind of lose my, enthusiasm to bring newer games to the table. That's why I'm more comfortable. Oh, you haven't played Champions of Midgard yet? Let's do that.
Let's do that, yeah.
So
now this is going to be a question far more geared towards Anthony, because it'll be obvious why it's geared towards Anthony and not James. But it's also a question that's kind of geared towards me as well. But when you host a game night, let's say it's your game night, or even that you're going to someone else's, how do you feel about, like, do you like to have games pre-arranged so that you know what's going to be on the table, or are you far more excited for, say, turning up or people turning up and bringing games along and then making that decision at the time?
I think that depends on your audience or the people that come to the game night thing.
Yeah.
Especially other people that play games or are heavy into the hobby as well.
Yeah.
I have no issue with them bringing anything.
No?
If they want to do, I'm always happy to play something. I want to play. That's the point of games night, is to play.
Yeah.
If they want to play with my stuff, that's fine. If not, it's there. It's always an option. Yeah. Again, I'm always happy to try other things. It's just an option at the end of the day. I mean, I would like to think I have an idea for people that are coming.
Yeah.
Because again, say like it's a family night and they want to do party games, then I'll have this and this ready.
Yeah.
And then they can decide whether they want to play it or not. It's up to them. Whereas when you've got people like ourselves, I'd like to think I have a sort of an idea of what you'd like to play. Yeah. But I wouldn't put it on the table and say, right, this is what we're playing. I'd rather say, guys, do you fancy doing that? Yeah. And go in, okay, let's give that a try.
I find that is an interesting one, and I know that you both know how I operate when we play games here. Yeah. Because I will usually have a game fully set up.
Yeah, but you usually tell us in advance that this is what we're going to have.
Yeah,
for the most part, yeah.
If I was answering this question just because I know my personality is 100%, as Ant said, I wouldn't mind other people bringing games or throwing suggestions more likely, but I'd want the game, whatever it was, prearranged before the night. Okay. So a decision, because that would quickly move into one of my big negatives.
Yeah, I mean...
okay.
Otherwise, I like a plan in place. So it's like, okay, so if it isn't, say, for example, a game that I have and someone else is bringing it, at least I know they're bringing it. I know when they're going to turn up, and it can be set up. If it is one from my collection, it would 100% be set up before everyone got there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a case of like knowing in advance they're going to bring stuff as well. If they just bring it without telling you, then that's going to lead to the worst part of it.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But yeah, again, if you said, I'm going to bring such and such, I was like, okay, let's do it. No issues. We'll bring it to the table.
Nice.
But yeah.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions really when it comes to game nights when you're hosting them, and I guess when you are attending them as well. But, you know, what sort of things do you like to see happening at a game night? So for example, me and James were talking about it earlier. We were eating Jelly Sweet Brains.
Okay, yeah.
And, you know, I will quite often have some sweets on the table as a sort of people can just dive into them as and when they like. So you're talking
snack-wise, are you?
Yeah, snack-wise. You know, I like to have some snacks available. If I'm hosting, they will always be around. You know, I like to try my best to have a selection of drinks that people might want to drink. You know, it is harder for me nowadays that I've tried to cut out like fizzy drinks. I very rarely have them in the house anymore. But, you know, I will try and have a variety of different juices, because I know not everyone likes orange juice. Not everyone likes blackcurrant, that kind of thing. You know, it comes down to with the games as well. There'll be a selection of games that I will know that I know the rules of exceptionally well, that I can teach at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
You know, what other things do you like music at a game night? You know, those kind of things. James, I'll ask you first on this one.
Yeah, definitely on the drink side of things. So I don't like, for the couple that I've hosted when we've done a Nemesis game, we've usually got snacks around, but I wouldn't say I've gone out of my way to do it, because it's just sort of like, but again, I think that was sort of prearranged. It was sort of like, if you've got, I think the last one we did, we each agreed that we'd like collectively put a snack pile together. Yeah, so I'll get a little bit, you'll get a little bit.
Yeah.
Such and such person will get a little bit, and we'll end up with a bar. Definitely drinks, because that's something a host should provide. From where I am, is you should always provide drinks, because, you know, you're going to be gaming for a few hours. People will get more likely to get thirsty rather than hungry.
Yeah.
And you never know if I think food's a little bit harder unless you like really, really know the group, because you don't know what people can have, what people can't have.
If they've got any allergies or anything like that.
Yeah, allergies, food requirements, all that kind of stuff. whether they're going to want snacky things or whether they're going to want to order something a bit more substantial.
Yeah.
Because some people will have had proper dinner, some people won't.
Yep. Well, if they're any good at planning like I am, then yeah, they probably won't have eaten.
Yeah.
Probably all day, and then sort of get there and then realise that they haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the food and drink bit. What was the other bit?
So, I guess the next question on from that would be your personal opinion. What do you prefer? Do you prefer snacky bits, or would you prefer something else, like, you know, and any do's and don'ts that you have around the table?
I mean, obviously nothing that's going to get, like, because it's probably going to be finger food, isn't it? So obviously nothing that's going to wreck the game. So, you know, anyone who's ordering, like, barbecue chicken wings and then touching my very expensive game is going to get a slap.
Yeah, but board game etiquette.
Yes. It's so, yeah, overly sugary, sticky sweets are probably not a good idea.
I mean,
either.
it's the ironic thing, isn't it? It's like, as I said, I'm quite protective over my games, and yet I've openly just said that I will have things like jelly sweets, which are ludicrously sticky.
They're not actually that. I'm picturing like the sugar crystal coated ones where they get very sticky very quickly.
All
like
the sugar powdery stuff around the table.
Yeah, or things like jelly babies that have like sugar dust or that or over it. That's the kind of stuff that I would stay away from. Overly
anything covered in chocolate.
Yeah, anything covered in chocolate. Anything that's like, I'm gonna pull a brand out here and hope I don't get in trouble for it. But like Doritos, if you're going savoury, it's like they are so heavily dusted with their flavouring. It's like it gets all over your hands.
Yeah, Doritos, stay away from board games. Yeah, you do that.
So yeah, it's basically anything that's not going to wreck the game or, you know, cause me to want to murder you.
So a nice greasy pizza then, yeah?
Perfect.
You think that people that play games enough kind of know that's the rule with board games and stuff?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, unfortunately so, yeah.
I say you would like to think. Yeah. I didn't say it was real.
Unfortunately, I've had far too many heart attacks at people eating a saucy McDonald's burger over my games and just seeing the sauce oozing out from the burger and just sort of my eyes going bright red and burning holes through their skull as I watched the sauce drip down on my unsleeved cards. It's not good.
No.
It's not good. Some of these people I would not deem as friends anymore, or even living. So
try and stay on the positive side.
Yes,
and this is a positive.
Yeah. It's positive.
To answer the actual question, I would tend to default towards snacky stuff, and it's kind of like what I said about the actual games earlier. It's like if you wanted to do something more substantial, like a group order, that kind of like be discussed beforehand. Yeah. So that everyone knew it. Because again, there's nothing worse. And this, you know, sorry, we're straying into the negative here.
It's not me.
But there is nothing worse than being unprepared for it and then being that person who has to go, oh, I can't really afford it.
I guess.
Because I didn't know this was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I can understand that because it's usually me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do understand that, to be fair.
Because I like see it from both sides as well. So I don't want to be put in that position if it is me. But then you get the backwards and forwards where usually other people who were going to order something might feel a bit guilty and then not. And it's like, well, I don't want you to go hungry, but I didn't anticipate this coming. So
yeah, no, sounds perfectly good. What about you, Anne? What do you like to see snacky wise around the table or food?
I mean, the guys I normally play with know the way to do it. Yeah. And the problem is with my new table is that my surface is a playmat. It has different types of playmats, but it is easily can get dirty fryer food and stuff. So I do freak out when, no, just a little bit further back now sort of thing. Yeah. So I used to be a bit more comfortable with it now, but now I'm kind of not. But I don't mind it as such. I mean, my family come to it and my brother-in-law is built like a brick house. And he always brings chicken wings with him every time. So my heart palpitates every time he comes to the table. But I do like to see the enjoyment in him because he's not a guy who plays board games. Yeah. And the fact that he's coming here, spending his time and actually enjoying it and wanting to play the next game whilst he eats his chicken wings is a buzz for me. Yeah. It's a positive side.
See, as someone, I am a fanatic chicken wing fan.
I do love chicken wings.
Always have been. But yeah, they are so dangerous when it comes comes to games. And,
Yeah.
and if I am eating anything greasy, if we have taken a break to eat a pizza or whatever it be, you know, I'm one of those people. I will meticulously wash my hands afterwards
Yeah.
before I go anywhere near
Yeah, out of respect.
a board game
Yeah.
piece, be it my game or someone else's. But yeah, like I said, I've seen some of the worst things, when it comes from food around the table. But for me, I do think it is a big part of a good board game night is to have some form of sustenance.
Oh, absolutely.
around the
Yeah,
table.
you have to.
James is spot on what he says. Drink is the most key thing because people are going to get thirsty far quicker than they're going to get hungry unless they're an idiot like me and don't eat for the whole day and then realise too late.
Have you ever been to one where they themed the food over the game at all?
Do you know what? I haven't.
That would be cool, though,
But
right?
I have thought about it on more than one occasion. If I had like a day off where I knew it was a game night in the evening, I would, because for those that don't know, I enjoy cooking. I enjoy creating new things, and I've always had ideas of how I could theme food.
So
drinks.
What you're saying, Jason, is the next time we play Flamecraft, there's going to be toast and steak available for us.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But, like, if you're
Maybe
playing
some,
like...
diamond.
Some diamonds, some steel, and weed.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to be playing a Hawaiian game, it'd be good to have, some Hawaiian style food and drink around, maybe some...
Viking style, you get like mead and turkey legs, all that sort of stuff.
We need to play a Viking themed game now because I need to finish that meal.
I'm your guy.
So yeah.
We do actually need to play Champions of Midgard again very soon.
We do.
Definitely
Yes.
do. But you talking about music earlier on as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a very big factor with game nights for me.
Yeah.
I do like to, again, depending on the theme, like if it's a certain, let's say an Alien game, for example, I like to have the soundtrack in the background just to get people in the mood and stuff and whatnot. I quite enjoy, or if it's like just a simple game night with us, Jason, you constantly have your Alexa playing random music in the background, just something there to build the atmosphere, isn't it? As well, it's I like to have music there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I just like that little bit of background noise.
Yeah,
going on.
totally. So
if it's a particularly loud game night anyway, then I might not.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you, and I know James does the same. If we're playing a particularly heavy thematic game, Nemesis, always got the Alien.
Yeah, you have to, right?
You know what I
Come
mean? On. And I do that with a lot of games. If there is one that I think would fit it very, very well. In fact, there's lots of Spotify playlists for dedicated games.
Absolutely.
That people have created. I've not done any myself, but
have you ever played the card game Psycho Killer?
I can't remember.
Or do you know of it at all?
I think
it's like
so,
a little £20 box. It's got a QR code at the back of it that goes straight to a playlist.
Yes.
It has a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's quite good.
That's the kind of little thing I really like in games, and when publishers do stuff like that. It's really, really cool. And you see it often with like crowdfunding games now, don't you? It's like, if we get to this stretch goal, we'll make a soundtrack for the game that you can listen to or download.
Or digital download something,
put it on Spotify, that kind of jazz.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that when they do that.
But yeah, James, for you, is music an essential part of a good game night?
I mean, it does help, like you said, in those heavily thematic games to have some accompanying music. Just a side note for me on that one is as long as the music isn't obtrusive, like when you have your it's still on a low, so it's
very low,
basically overpowering everything else.
Yeah, you're not over talking it or anything.
Yeah, you don't really want to be constantly re-ask it. It's like, what was that? Sorry, I can't hear you. What?
Yeah.
So
it's like you said, it's background noise to help set the scene, and if you do get a lull in the conversation, it's not tumbleweed.
Yeah. So,
sorry, God. There's a fun factor to the music side. Like, again, if we're playing Crokinole, and let's just say a song comes on that one of us knows, and we take it with the shot.
Yeah.
Like, System of a Down, la 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 la, ooh, and just get it in there, and you have a laugh of it. It's fun, and then you talk about the music and stuff as well at the same time.
It's bit of Disturbed as someone's trying to take this out.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, guys, that's how we play Crokinole.
It really
come at us.
It really is. So I guess the follow-on question from me would be: have you ever been at a game night where someone has the TV on in the background to provide that ambient noise? More often than not, if I've been at a game night where that's happened, it's nearly always something like football for example, and it drives. Again, I'm sorry to.
Yeah, someone has to like know what the result is or
but
something.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that kind of thing because it's too distracting. You know, I don't mind the TV being on, but you know, TV, Spotify, or YouTube, where you've got some ambient stuff going on, but something that someone might want to pay attention to.
Yeah.
It's, you know, for me is a no-go, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've not had anyone to that extent have the football results in the background or anything, but I went to a game night where someone hasn't got a subscription to Spotify, so they did, like you said, the YouTube thing, and I think we were playing one of the Thing games or something, and he had the soundtrack in the background.
Yeah,
which you're playing along. Don't get me wrong, but don't forget YouTube has adverts.
Then,
so when you get to
halfway through it, a really loud
and
advert.
it was loud advert comes into it. Yeah. So it's
annoying.
Very annoying, but I can see why they did it.
Yeah. That's understandable. What about you, James? You okay with the TV on in the background?
If it's being used as a music player, yes. If it's actually, like you said, if it's got something, a television program that someone just can't wait for, or sport or something, then no, because it's drawing attention away from the actual reason that you're there.
Yeah. Nice. So, I mean, what other things do we like at game nights?
So I'm going to go back to an episode we did. I can't remember what the title was, but it was it was a positive episode. Why we liked our games.
Okay.
Now, I like to see the group go into what I said about what I like is the experience they have with the game.
Yeah.
For example, I play Feed the Kraken with the guys from Legend of Podcasting quite a bit.
Yeah.
They absolutely love that game, but I love how each and every one of them gets so into the theme of it.
Yeah.
Like later on in the game, if the ship lands on a spot, one of the captains has to decide who can't talk for the rest of the game. It's like the punishment of cutting someone's tongue off in the game. Yeah. And obviously they pick it, and then the guy literally you can make noises, but you can't talk.
Yeah.
And you could break that rule any time just to get ahead. But the way they get into it, it's just so fun to see them. Live that sort of time and era, that experience. My tongue just become. It's absolute brilliant, and I just love games that do that and get people into that sort of entertainment and experience at the same time.
Nice.
So that's a big thing for me, is experience with games.
So again, I would agree with that, and as an extension of that as well, is actually for me, and I'd actually go as far to say this is probably my favourite part of a game night, and that is, bear with me in saying it, but the end of the game night.
Sure.
It's not because people are going home or anything like that. It's because
everyone talks about
what they've just done.
Yep.
The game and the fun that they've had. Mm-hmm. That, especially as a host of a game night, is my favourite part.
It's because it's how you know people have genuinely enjoyed themselves with that. Oh, when Jason made that move, and then Ant countered, and it was such a good move.
Yeah. I can't believe he beat me by 1 point. And
all of that. That's how you know people have enjoyed it. Because if you just got to the end and everyone went, "Oh, cool, yeah, see you later, see you next week," and then left, it's like,
you get a bit of a negative feeling about that, don't you? Because it just feels like, did I do something wrong? Was the game the wrong choice?
Yeah, or people just weren't feeling it this evening. But when they're all animated and they're literally, it's only just happened, and yet they're reliving it. It's like, that means that people have had a really good time.
Yeah. So for me, that is my personal top of the list. It's where I get my enjoyment.
Yeah,
from.
it's also
I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy socializing with everyone, but just that last bit at the end of the night, and you guys know what I'm like. I'll come outside for a breath of fresh air before I go to bed, and we'll often have a quick 5-minute chat outside, and that's it. That's the point. Is people are going home, which is sad. I don't want my friends to go home. However, I'm seeing my friends off happy.
Yeah, they've gone off and they've had a good time.
Because I can come back in. I often don't put the games away or anything like that. I will just turn off for the night. I'll head off to bed because it's usually quite late, and I get the enjoyment of that. I'm lying in bed and I was like, that was a good night. I had a good night. People had a good night. I can go to sleep. Yeah. And then I get the extra enjoyment the next day when I come in to put the stuff away. Is like, I did a good job. Yeah. I did a good job. So it's kind of the after effects of a game night. That's my favourite.
Yeah, it's such a good thing to come home with. I mean, and another thing, I'm sure you've had it as well, Jason, that the audience you've had have ended up buying the game that you've played as well. with them.
More often than not, you do, yes.
But yeah, sometimes. But sometimes I like. There's a couple of guys in my podcast now who've come into the game side of it, and they have bought some of the stuff that I've showed them and introduced it to their family. So, but yeah. I feel like, again, like you, I've done my job well.
Yeah. Exactly. So, like I said, there's been quite a few times where, all joking aside, I have come to your house and it's like, oh my God, you bought that game. I wasn't sure that you liked it that much, you know.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know, off the top of my head,
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. Yeah. I found that the other day. Age of Comics. You bought that without me even knowing. There's been quite a few.
You wouldn't sell me your copy, so I had to.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, you've had 2 copies since. Which is more than me. So your copy is now better than mine because you have all of the upgraded pieces for it, which I don't have.
I have one more than you. That's all it is.
I know. But it's not the point. Damn it. But yeah, it's that's my personal favourite. James, personal favourite for you? Or is it literally the social stuff?
I mean, it's an extension of that and probably kind of an echo of what you had. It's seeing everyone else enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
That is probably the best part of a game night for me is, you know, even if you are mercilessly trying to defeat them in whatever game, it's like, you know, the highs, the lows, the missed rolls, the strategies that haven't paid off or that have paid off. It's like you're just watching everyone around the table have a really good time.
Yeah.
That's the best part of a game night.
Most definitely.
I suppose, an extension of that. I enjoy watching people suffering.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
Stay positive, Jason. Stay positive.
Dear listeners, I will rephrase this. My favourite part of a game night is when Jason thinks he's got the win, and then I sneak up on him and stab him in the back.
Yeah. That's always good fun.
It's hilarious fun.
Yeah.
Or watching Jason play Kingmaker. That's always entertaining.
As a host, do you ever get excited about setting up the game before games night as well?
That is
That's got to depend on which game
because
it is,
there are times where you've sent us pics saying such and such is set up, let's do this.
Yeah, like really early.
Yeah.
Really
like
early.
2 days early.
That's only happened once, all right?
I was going to say, surely that's got to depend on which game it is. Because there have also been times that I've arrived and you've just sort of looking like you're questioning your life choices. It's like, I've set it up. I do really want to play this game. It is a good game, but I'm questioning my life choices right now.
Yeah. I think James is right on that. I think there is definitely an element of, depending on what the game is, how stressful the setup is. But more often than not, you are right. Like I often set games up way in advance of a game night, especially if I know I don't need the table. Like sometimes, it will be a good couple of days, and it builds my anticipation for the game night as well.
Yeah,
because if it's on the table, I'm like, that's happening in.
We're actually going to get to play a game.
There's got to be a practical element to it as well, because if you have set it up a couple of days in advance, there's one less thing to worry about on the day. It's like, well, the game's set up and ready to go.
Yes, yeah. As well as the moaning from people that want to use the table for, I don't know, like eating dinner.
Damn them. Get them dinner trays, you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone would think this is a dining table.
I know.
dare
Exactly.
they?
Doesn't look like a dining table, does it? Of course it doesn't. That's underneath all the mats. So, yeah. No, that's actually a really, really good question.
You really
it does
should
definitely get me excited once it's on the table.
Yeah, definitely,
But the actual setup, it's one of my least favourite parts of gaming is setting up games.
Is it really? I mean, I tend to, depending, again, very much like James says, it's all depending on how big the game is and stuff, but I kind of get excited about it, and my daughter sees it and she gets involved in it, and I tell her what to do and stuff, so it's kind of, I have to admit, I do get excited for setting up.
I would say, again, depending on the game, and especially with a lot of my games, if I've got specific
components,
like UV inserts and stuff like that, I will try and make a presentation of the table, and I get enjoyment from that.
Yeah.
I get excited from creating that sort of...
Do you try and get the audience that comes to your game night to here's the table presence, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know it's for the benefit of the listeners. You guys know how I operate, and the show I try and put on in air quotes,
right?
You know what I mean?
We all do as hosts, right?
I will often, especially now that we have the studio set up and stuff, but I will often try and have coloured lighting that matches the game, and just create that atmosphere of that game. And it's just all anything, and it goes with the music. You know,
Yeah.
it's just adding to that immersion into the game. I want to go all in on this and have people have a good time. So yeah, that side of it, I get enjoyment out of, and you know, it's kind of like I'm doing a lot more on the Instagram now. That adds to that as well. You know, I get fun trying to stage a game, and take photos of it and make it look good and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, definitely in the same boat there. Jammers, how much effort do you put in setting up a game? Do you enjoy one game?
But have you ever set up your own game at a game night?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you get enjoyed, like, so we're going to play my game, let's get this set up and whatnot. Do you get the thrill from that at all? Or
I mean, yeah, it is. Oh, I always love hosting. It's obviously it's always the same.
Sure.
It's always the same game.
Until you learn Autobahn.
Until I learn Autobahn. But that's here.
It's not my fault.
Hint, hint, James.
Hey, it's
Positive, Jason.
It's in the studio. It's not my fault you said, hey, keep it here, because we're going to have to review it at some point.
Anyway, please carry on, James.
I mean, Nemesis is one of those that is on the more daunting side to set up, I suppose. So I do like to try and set it up in advance. But yeah, as you're getting it out, it's just sort of like, I think as well, because we don't play it that often.
Yeah, so that's got to be another thing to be excited about, is that you actually got to get it out,
so
you've got to
like,
set it up.
It is one of those games that like basically comes out every once in a while. So it is when you're like taking the simple as taking the lid off the box. It's it's time for a bit of Nemesis. And
you're like, hello, old girl.
Once you've got over that initial, this is going to take a while to set up, but then as you're going through the setup, it's like the excitement starts to build. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
Fix this deck so that Jason gets that.
Yeah.
I can see that as well.
So can I.
Give him the card with the nasty scanner in it.
Can't do that because most of the player setup is like completely randomized on when the player gets here.
It's true.
It's like,
it's true.
I can set the board up, but it's like all the stuff that would actually matter would be, no, you have to random draw.
Yeah. But no, that's fair. Is there anything else that you love about game night, or like about game night, or particularly look forward to about game night that you want to say before we sign off for the evening, and then get to my favourite part about talking about the bad things about game night?
I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to very quickly bring up that the more times people come and they get to play even new stuff and whatnot, it's just another big thing for me. Again, it's a nice boost of confidence and enthusiasm to bring other stuff to the table, because they've seen, that X-Men game looks good, let's do that. So,
Nice.
You know, I another thing I really like to do with hosting. So,
very nice.
Pretty much it.
Very nice. Last question: do you prefer hosting or do you prefer attending? And I know that's.
I'm going to go with attending. I'm going to go with attending.
Okay. And
as much as I do love to host, there are times where we'll go into it in the next episode.
Okay.
Why I might consider attending more than hosting now.
Okay. Fair enough.
So to be continued, guys.
Talk about cliffhanger. Nice. That's a nice way to end. I don't feel like I can answer that. I mean, James, we know the answer to you.
No,
how about you, Jason?
Do you?
What?
I would actually say, on the balance, I prefer hosting because I don't get to do it very often. It's not just,
that's fair. I mean,
not just because of the one game, but because I still live at home. So it's very difficult to actually have the space to have people over for gaming. So on the rare occasion that I do get to host, I actually quite enjoy doing it.
And you don't have to walk home afterwards.
There is that.
Exactly.
You know, that's a massive positive for hosting, isn't it? At the end of the day, when everyone's sort of like got to go home, you're just like, I am home.
I'm kind of lucky in that aspect, really, because I do host more than I tend to attend. And if I am attending, it's usually at Ant's house, which is 3 minutes walk off.
If that.
So it's not like I have a particularly high walk, long walk either. So,
but what about you, Jason? You an attendee or a hostie?
That is, I would say it's an easy answer, but I actually don't think it is. I really enjoy hosting, and I would say that that's been the way for a very long time, because it's the same reason I still host a game club every single week. You know, it's a very stressful thing to do, but I get so much enjoyment from it that it makes up for all the other negativity in my life that I like to say I'm a very negative person, which I am. I do come across as quite negative. But, you only have to...
don't we know, James?
You only have to look at a lot of the things I do. That I do draw a lot of positivity from other things, like hosting the game nights and stuff. I like to see positivity on others or in others than myself. I get more enjoyment from that. So I would say, probably hosting is far more where I'm at. I'm also very lazy, so staying at home is always a good thing. And as proven with things like going away to Essen and UKG, I like to be in control of a lot of things. I'm not a control freak or anything like that, but I just like to know that things are going to run smoothly. That being said, I have no problem.
But that's more the organizer side of yourself as well, isn't it? That does that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But that being said, I have no issues at all attending other people hosting. And I'll always gladly do it, and that's where I tend to play more games that I've not played before. So, that would be my answer.
Nice answer.
Very elongated answer.
Nice answer.
But so are you ready to head off for? I'll say another evening, but it's not because we're about to record part 2.
We'll see you next week, guys, for part 2.
Next week, yeah.
Air quote, next week.
And we're totally going to record it next week, right? No, I will see you guys in a couple of minutes. I will allow James to go and have his cigarette outside. I could do with a drink, and I'm sure
I can do with the toilet break.
You can do with the toilet break. There we go. We're all middle-aged at the end of the day.
There we go.
Cue for the toilet.
Garbage.
Oh, garbage.
Garbage.
Don't like this garbage.
Steaming garbage.
We got it in there. Right at the very end. But yes, okay. For you guys, we will talk to you next week. But for you guys, I will talk to you in a minute. Until then, my name has been Jason.
I've been James.
I've been Ant.
And you have been listening to the Meeple Minded podcast. Join us next week for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.